This is Amy Chan from CakeDecoratingSchool.com, and if you like cake decorating, you're in the right place. If you're interested in these products, check out the links in the description. In this video, we're talking about 6 must-have items if you're starting to work with fondant. If you're new to fondant, you're going to need some specialized tools to get started. Chiefly would be the rolling pins you use. They're made out of plastic, right? So you have a nice non-stick surface, and it'll make it easier to work with than if you're using your regular rolling pin. And you'll notice it's a nice, long, flat rolling pin that'll allow you to roll really wide pieces of fondant easily. The second rolling pin I have, it's made out of the same plastic material, but it's smaller. So this is if I'm working for small, flat pieces, I want to roll something out and cut out small pieces of fondant that I'm going to apply to a cake. Either that or for working with gum paste, because generally you're rolling out smaller amounts. So it's going to give you more control versus the large one where you're rolling out big sections to cover a whole cake with. Next would be a fondant smoother. This is after you've applied it to the cake. You're using this just like you would any kind of trowel to smooth it over the surface and down over the sides. This will keep you from leaving indentations if you use your fingers. Next, I have a little dusting puff. I've made my own out of cheesecloth, but you can buy these as little drawstring pouches. I've just got some powdered sugar in here, and I use this little guy so that I can dust it lightly on the surface. And speaking of surfaces, one thing that's underneath this is a rolling mat, right? So these are a nice no-stick surface. It makes it easy to roll out your fondant, and you can use it to help you apply your fondant to the cake. So it's like a backing that you can use to flip that piece of fondant over, and it gives you a little more control if you're new to working with fondant. You'll see that there's a variety of mats on the market, and most of them have circular sizing guides that can help you gauge how big the piece of fondant you're rolling out is, and if it'll be enough to cover your cake. And you'll notice in addition to these rings here, we also have measuring guides on the side. So we have our horizontal and vertical in both centimeters and inches on each side. So if you're rolling really big pieces, you have a nice guide there, an easy visual measure to know if your piece of fondant is big enough to cover your cake with. Because once you flip it over onto the cake, there's kind of no going back. So if it's too short, you're going to have trouble covering your sides completely, and it can mean you need to do some patching and other things that are a bit of a headache and can impact the finish of your cake. Right? And lastly, I have a pizza roller. This is perfect for trimming up the excess fondant after I've applied the cake. And if you don't have one of these, you can always use a small paring knife, kitchen knife, or spatula, just something so that you can trim up the edges of your fondant. And this covers our 6 essential must-have items if you're starting to work with fondant. If you enjoyed this video and you'd like to check out more about cake decorating, the materials and equipment used, or just inspirational ideas about cake decorating itself, you can follow us on Insta or YouTube at Cake Decorating School. If you'd like to find out more about yearly membership and what it includes, go to www.cakedecoratingschool.com for more information. And if you're interested in these products, check out the links in the description.